What's happening, Muscle and Mind? Welcome to The Muscle. Today we're talking about the bench press, mostly about the form of it. And I'm looking over the internet. I'm trying to think of concepts to bring to this, and everything's been done. And you know that. If you want to learn how to bench press, you can Google it. You could YouTube it already. It's been made by tons of people that are credible and have done it right. So what I'm going to get into is more of the why we bench press, how we bench press. You learn from a lot of the people that are instructional. You want to keep your shoulder back and down, right? So retracted and down. But do you know why you do that? I'm going to get into the anatomy of what that does for your bench, how to isolate your chest and your triceps rather than your serratus and your front delt, and that back and down movement has a lot to do with it. So your shoulder joint has an attachment. It kind of looks like a chicken wing. I'll put it up on the screen now. So when it's back, your traps are what pull it back, and your traps are what pull it up. So up is traps and back is traps. And then when it's front, when you protract it front, it's a lot of your serratus. And when you push it down, it's also a lot of your serratus. So that's the antagonizing muscle groups there. You have your serratus that pulls it forward and your traps that pull it back. Why does this matter in a bench press? A lot of the times, people will start with their shoulders retracted on the bench, and they'll be pushing, but when they get to about right here, the shoulder will come up a little bit, as opposed to back here. It'll come up and come forward, because that does help you get a contraction in your chest. If you want to squeeze the chest completely, it helps when you protract your shoulders. But that actually takes away from the chest. It brings in like secondary muscle groups that help you finish that move. So those. If I asked you right now, how do you contract the serratus? Do you even know? I already went over it a little bit, but it's shoulders down or shoulders forward. So this shoulders forward is gonna contract your serratus. So when you do that, you're getting help on the bench press from your serratus, not so much the chest. So keep in mind when you're benching, there should always be an arch. There should always be an arch in your back, and the only things that are touching the pad, only things that are touching the bench itself, should be your two shoulder blades. And most people get this right at the beginning of the move, but towards the end, they'll flat back, as I call it. So you never want your spine, the middle of your back, your traps to be touching the pad. It should always be your shoulder blades. So to test this, you could stick something like a ruler or something in between your shoulder blades and make sure that you could always feel for it, right? If you feel it, you're going down too far. All right, guys, so I could show you pictures and talk about it all I want, but it doesn't really make sense until we get into the science of it. So the reason flexing your traps and pulling your shoulders back limits your front delt and your serratus, because that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to take the front delt and the serratus out of the move. Obviously, if you're doing incline bench, if you're doing a different variation of bench press, you might need a little more front delt and serratus, but for a typical bench press, a lot of what you're doing is trying to work your chest. And this is because of antagonist muscle groups. So what that means is for most muscles on our body, there's an antagonist. For your bicep, it's your tricep. For your trap, it's your serratus. So these are muscle groups that when one is fully contracted, the other is fully lengthened. So if you look at your tricep, right? If you flex your tricep by fully lengthening your arm, your bicep cannot be flexed at the same time. So it's a one or the other, basically. So when your traps and your shoulders are pulled back, that activates your traps, it limits your serratus and your front delt from getting into the movement, which is gonna really help you to use your lower chest. So basically, guys, the reason we're pulling our shoulders back and down is to keep our serratus and front delt out of the movement, so it isolates your chest and triceps. Thanks for watching. This is Muscle and Mind. I know it was a short video today. I got another infomercial exposure I'm working on that's coming in a couple days. So comment, rate, subscribe. See you next time. I don't know. Don't fucking know anymore.